from Honolulu, Hawaii, to be our guest for our birthday ball this year. And I think that P.T. Brent was an absolutely a very relevant guest for our ball. And the reason I say that is because everybody, I believe everybody in this room, or just about everybody, has something very much in common with him. Okay, and I've got something in common with him as well. Okay, I started off my Marine Corps career drilling as a reservist in the Bay Area. Okay, I was a part of a unit out in Alameda, and I was much younger, and I was much faster in my PFT run at the time too. But going through my Marine Corps career, I've kind of come full circle and come back to being a Marine in a reserve unit in the Bay Area. Okay. Well, Mr. Brent is the same way. Patrick Timothy Brent, P.T. Brent, is a Marine, and he joined the Marine Corps, and his first unit was Echo Company 224. Okay, Echo 224 is in Chicago right now, and is one of the battalions and one of the companies in 23rd Marines. Okay, so Mr. Brent joined the Marine Corps in the 60s and drilled out of 224 out of Chicago. Okay, after leaving the reserves, he took the knowledge and I really think the leadership that he learned as a Marine, and he took it to the civilian world, and he worked very hard to become a very successful businessman. Okay, he was a corporal. Okay, he got out of the reserves, and what he did is he started a company that was the very first company to ever computerize airline tickets. Now, we all take it for granted that you go online and you get an airline ticket, but in the 60s, late 60s, as a corporal, P.T. Brent started a company as an entrepreneur on his own and created electronic tickets for airplanes. And I think that he'll probably tell you that the initiative that he learned in the Marine Corps and the leadership skills that his sergeants and his staff NCOs taught him probably helped him to become successful. Okay, he left and he just started a series of companies. He started a cookie company that he named after his grandmother, which became very successful. And interestingly enough, it was an American cookie company that was most successful in France. And the French pride themselves on dessert-type foods. So having an American cookie company do well in Paris is something that is a little bit outside of the norm. Okay, he went off and he started another corporation that worked on working with the IRS and doing tax-type stuff. Not very exciting. He went and he started a cruise line. He started a cruise company. He's gone through life as a Marine, and in his capacity as a civilian, you know, he's become very successful as a civilian in business, and he's really done that, I believe, in my mind, because of everything that he learned as a Marine. Okay, which we all have in common. I asked him if he'd be willing to come and be our guest of honor for the ball. And he agreed to. He lives in Honolulu, Hawaii, and you know, as he went through his life and he started these businesses and he became very successful, it was very clear to he, and I met him in a much more formative time in my life. But it was very clear that, you know, when you're that successful, what do you do with your life? Okay, and P.T. Brent loves Marines. So what he found is that he enjoyed writing. And he became a writer. And he started writing articles. And he started writing articles about Marines. Okay? And he went and he got himself embedded into multiple units in Iraq and Afghanistan, meeting young Marines and sailors and writing articles about them and getting them published. Okay? And he spent years of his life dedicated toward meeting Marines and writing about them, learning about them. So I think that it says a lot when you have economically, when you have everything you could ever want in the world, and you got to figure out what to do with your life, and you decide, I'm going to hang out with Marines. And that's what he decided to do, and that's really what he does. So he's come here today, and I think that he's going to give you a PME, and I would tell you that this is a unique. I know what happens when I say, "Are there any questions?" Something happens, and nobody asks questions. But I'll tell you that what you do have an opportunity today and tomorrow to do, if you so desire, is to ask someone who's been very successful. I mean, by all accounts, very, very successful in his life as both a Marine and in the civilian world. Ask him how he got to where he is, and if he has any recommendations for you. Get his email address and bother him with a lot of emails. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. But the one thing I can tell you is that if you ever do send him an email or if you ever ask him a question, you're going to get an honest answer. Okay, and this is somebody that spent just an enormous amount of time doing a lot of really good things for our Corps, and he's just got an enormous amount of experience. So, you know, coming out of this, I hope you ask him. You know, for those, there are Marines in this room that are reservists. You know, there's a significant connection that you have with this gentleman. Okay, and as a Marine, he's got a connection with everybody. So ask him. If there are things that you want to pursue in life, whether it's business or education, you know, starting your own mustache grooming corporation, or doing all of those things that you're going to be very successful at doing, I would ask you to take a moment and take advantage of an opportunity to ask this gentleman for his perspective, because he'll give you an honest answer. Okay? Am I breaking the record for the longest introduction ever? Maybe.
Close. Okay,
but anyways, Patrick Brent, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Colonel. Colonel, that's word for word the way I wrote it. The Marines? Marines? Now I can hear you. I created a PME after I was doing a series of PMEs about a famous Marine general. We kind of got bored with it, so I created something with my daughter and another Marine called Mysteries of the Corps. We're going to go in a time machine, future and the past. I'm going to show you some things and ask some questions. Before I get into that, I want to tell you I had a banner come in for your birthday, and I also had 500 Good and Plenty candies, which are operated by a Marine that rescued me. A former retired gunnery sergeant rescued me at the factory. The chairman of this company is a friend of mine. He sent 500 of them here because of your postal situation. Postal situation is, here's the greeting, he sent 5 of these cards too. Sarah, I'm going to let you, you can eat all you want of these and pass them out to the class if you want, okay? You don't have to share them. Okay, so okay, now, we're going to go to Paris in the year 1884, Paris, France. You know, there are 3 dances the church forbade, the church forbade. One was the can-can, the other one was the hula, and then you know the third one? South America? Who said that? Stand up. Good answer. Okay. Where's my operator here? Let's let her rip. Now I'm going to play a tune here from a French Gaiety theater where they did the can-can in 1880. And the first person that recognizes this tune, I'd like you to raise your hand. Just raise your arm. You're ruining my show here. Okay, before I got here, being a former seminarian, suffered expulsion, I immediately reported to the chaplain. And told me he was a devout Catholic bishop. I didn't know it at the time. So I went there to try to do confession. And he told me that he was all excited about the PME tonight. He wanted to participate. So, but I think if I remember right, chaps, you said to me that every PME, right, they said every PME required a good sea story.
Sure.
Sit down. It's not your turn.
Oh, it's not my turn yet?
Did you tell me his answer, yes or no? Does it require a good sea story?
Absolutely.
Does anybody know the definition of a good sea story? Anybody here? No one? Okay. A good sea story, I think Sergeant Major told me this. A good sea story doesn't allow reality to stand between you and a really good story. So we just went to 1880. Well, now I'm going to go to year 2070. It's a long time from now, 50 years from now. We're going to go to a little rustic farm outside of Roanoke, Virginia. And on this farm is a broken down former Marine Corps kind of guy. He's all crippled up. He's like in his 90s. He's kind of a pathetic creature. He's driving along this tractor. One of those, you know, those John Deere tractors get all the red, green and yellow paint on them. Have you seen a John Deere tractor? And it's all painted, but it's all chipped. It's got a Sergeant Major's rank on it, and it says, you can hardly read the letter. It says Wesley Schaefer and USMC, and it's got a lot of medals up on it. But it's a tractor. He's driving along his farm country there, just outside of Roanoke, Virginia. It's way in the future, 50 years from now, and he's just a wreck. This guy. So he's tooling along, and all of a sudden here's a big bang, and falling out of the sky is a bird. Comes down, lands between the fence line and the tractor. And he looks at it, all of a sudden, coming down the road is a big guy, about 6'7", coming guy with all the fancy shotgun shells, real one of those dudes. He's got a big shotgun. He says, "Hey, old timer, that's my bird. I'm coming there to get it." This old timer says, "Trade it on." It says, "Son, this is a bird's on my property here in Roanoke. My property. I keep the bird." The guy says, "You know who I am? I'm Saul Lipschitz. I'm the meanest, toughest New York City lawyer on planet Earth. And if I don't get that bird, I'm going to sue one side of your body and down the other side." Well, this old grizzled wreck of a guy says, "Well, you know, here in Virginia, we don't do much of that litigating stuff in this area. We have another system." "What's that?" He says, "We have the 3-kick rule." Does anybody know what the 3-kick rule is? Well, I guess somebody from Roanoke would know the 3-kick rule. He says, "What happens? I get off the tractor and I kick you 3 times, you kick me 3 times, and whoever the first guy who gives up, the other guy gets the bird." So this big dude, 6'7", looks at him and says, "Oh, I can do that." So he puts the shotgun down, he gets from the other side of the fence, and this little grizzled guy gets off the tractor, and all of a sudden he's standing tall and lean, like he just got out of Paris Island. So like really, really tough guy. Paris Island, the only one. Gets out of Paris Island. And I gotta stop breaking up around material. Anyway, so he all of a sudden he looks like he's 30 years old again. He's like he's ready to do a perfect PFT. He looks like he's got his boots, his t-shirt, and his cami. He walks right up to that New York lawyer, and he takes his right boot, he plants it right where the Mississippi and Missouri meet. Wham! And that guy crumples up. He goes over and whacks him in the back of the cap, and the guy crumples on the deck. Then he goes around and slams him right in the ribs. The guy's shot. He's totally shot. So for 5 to 10 minutes, where he slowly gets his breath, he gets up on the fence, he finally gets his wind. He says, "Oh, okay, my turn." And this tough, cool-looking Sergeant Major says, "Nah, you keep the bird."
Item 7.
I know I'm going to pay for that later. Okay, so anyway, we have a whole series of questions. And we're going to, I might mention to you a famous Marine who founded, anybody seen the museum in Quantico? Okay, the guy who founded that, General Ron Crispus, said to me at the Naval Academy many years ago, he said to the whole audience, he said, Marines are never politically correct. Marines are just correct. And that's my theory tonight. Okay, now we're going to go, let's go to the newsstand. This is a couple of scenes from World War I. Look at that. This is a young man who's selling newspapers for 2 cents. 1918. You got it?
Papers, 2 cents. Papers, 4 years of war leaves millions dead. Get your latest news here. Big news from France. Read all about it. Germans, close to Paris. 25 miles in 5 days.
Sergeant Major.
Those Huns are tough. They really put the squeeze on those poor folks in France. The French are fleeing. Get the whole story right here, folks. French ask America for help. That's right. France knows they have no match for the Germans, so we send thousands of Marines. Says here when the French said war's over, you better retreat. A Marine told them, retreat? Hell, we just got here. Those Marines, those Lebanons, are always the first to fight. That's right, folks. Our news right here, straight from the battlefield. Our news right here from the reporter on the scene. Get your papers here. Big news from France. Our Marines are headed to a big fight at Belleau Wood. Hey, folks, go see for yourself. A big fight. Right over there.
Now, I'm on the board of the museum of the American Marine Corps Heritage Foundation. We went at least to Farmers Field with the same topography as the Battle of Belleau Woods that occurred obviously in June of 1918. And we hired 4 actors to play the key roles, and we brought Marines, real Marines from Quantico to act the roles of that famous scene. So I've been twice now. We've done some historic work. We hired them, and on day 3, all 4 actors were fired. Replaced them with real Marines. I'm so happy we got rid of those guys. Even that movie Full Metal Jacket, which I liked the first half only, the Full Metal Jacket, they fired the actor after a month and replaced him with a real Marine. Did you know that? He was an actor at first. Done in a room where we have flashbangs and cordite smells separate people walking in a living area inside the museum. So the real audience, it's a real combat like effect. Our museum's doubling in size this next year, over double size. Number 1 on your bucket list, right after you go to the University of Notre Dame. Bucket list, Notre Dame, great museum. a couple of questions. I want you to name 4 jobs in the Marine Corps. The title ends of the Marine Corps. 4 of them. Anybody help me out with this? Of the Marine Corps. 4 jobs in the Marine Corps.
Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. That's all I got.
Any more? What?
Commandant.
Commandant, good. Give me number 2. 3.
The chaplain
3.
got that?
Yes,
You're
You're gonna
I
be
said
kidding
it
me.
before
The chaplain
anybody
got
else.
that, and the Marines
That's
didn't.
pathetic.
Number 3.
The assistant
Commandant's good. That was really a tough one. Now the toughest one. Anybody got the toughest one?
color sergeant of the Marine Corps.
Who just got that?
Sergeant.
Oh, you weren't looking at my notes. You stand up, Sergeant Major, come up here. Seriously, you know,
I'm too short to be the color sergeant of the Marine Corps.
I will wear that. These guys play for the Cubs. Usually somebody drops it. Okay, another one. You get up in the morning, you put your insignia on. You could be a corporal or a general. Name the 3 jobs in the Marine Corps. When you get up in the morning, you cannot change your insignia. 3 positions in the Marine Corps, you can't change your insignia. Lance corporal's gonna change, right? There are 3 ranks. You can't change your insignia.
Private.
Who?
Private?
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here. That's the worst answer I've ever had. Give me another one. 3, come on.
Chief Warrant Officer 5, 4-star, and Sergeant Major.
4-star is wrong. Sergeant Major Marine Corps is correct. Why is the Chief Warrant Officer can't be changed?
Chief Warrant Officer 5?
Why?
Because they can't be promoted.
No, you got the wrong answer.
A gunner.
Okay, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, you said, right?
Right?
That's the first one. We're missing 2.
A gunner, sir.
Right, because of bursting bomb.
Yes, sir.
3. Come on. Let's see, I think one of you guys even had that rank. Not sure. 3. Everybody got it? Look around the room.
A chaplain?
Captain? Chaplain? He's not a Marine. You wish he was, but he's not a Marine. Come on. 3rd one.
Colonel?
Right, stand up. Oh! You're obviously not worthy of that. It's a shame all of you guys have this really great sweatshirt, you know. How'd you get that one?
I got it.
Okay, well, you're the one who dropped it, right?
What was that, sir?
You just dropped the shirt. Okay. I teach you don't have one there. Okay, good. I said, well, okay, now. Okay, let's see. Can anybody tell me, General Hagee, a historian, what 3 battles that defined the Marine Corps? Not the biggest battles, but the ones that defined the Marine Corps. And one of the reasons we're doing this is our former commandant came up with something called Awakening to the Corps. And he wants the E4s and E5s. The thing that keeps us alive, that keeps us from being dissolved, there's been at least 3 occasions where people wanted to get rid of the Marine Corps. And why we're different is because we have traditions. We teach history. I ran across, 2 different times I ran across sailors coming out of boot camp, and nobody knew who John Paul Jones was. Does anybody here know who John Paul Jones was?
I believe he was a commander in the Navy in 18...
Right, he's the father of the U.S. Navy. He's more important than Chesty Puller and John Lejeune. And no one said they don't teach history. We teach history, and our SEOs are the job to keep that tradition going, or there might not be a Marine Corps someday. Now, can anybody tell me what 3 battles define the Marine Corps?
Iwo Jima.
Right.
Wasn't that smart?
Chosen Reservoir. Who said that? Good answer. Next one. What, good one? Right. Who said that? Good answer. Okay. Okay, now, let me see here. What do we got here? Now we're going to go... Can anybody tell me the name of the Marine that won the Heisman Trophy? You know, the college football star, quarterback, running back. Do you know the name of that Marine? Okay, good, really easy question. Anybody know what college he went to? Who said that? Okay, stand up. I have this extra one here anyway. Oh, get that back. That was in the strike. That was in the strike zone of other names. Anyway, his name is Angelo Bertelli. Angelo Bertelli, after 7 games in 1943, he went away. He was already signed up. He went to Paris Island. Remember Paris Island? The only boot camp? Went to Paris Island. And when he got there, started his training. Meantime, he wins the Heisman Trophy. They sent a telegram down to the series commander there and asked if they sent a plane and wanted for half a day to receive the Heisman Trophy. They got a telegram back from a Marine lieutenant saying, "We have high hopes Private Bertelli will make OCS, and every day is very important here, permission denied." So Angelo Bertelli wasn't allowed to get the Heisman Trophy in 1943, 44, 45, war ends. In 1946, he comes back to New York Athletic Club and gets the Heisman Trophy. And he's wearing his Marine outfit. He's a captain. And he has a Purple Heart and a bronze star. Isn't that cool? Notre Dame and Marine Corps are very, very close because the Navy and Marine Corps kept Notre Dame going during the war. Otherwise, it would have been closed down. Now, you know, when I was in the Marine Corps, the old Corps, they wore these khaki tropical worsted outfits. It was like a khaki color. The whole outfit was khaki, like the Navy guys were. Okay, now there's still there's still some Marines on active duty. You know the garrison cover, the fore and aft cover. There's still Marines wearing that cover, and it's khaki. It's tropical worsted. It's tan. Does anybody know where that Marine active duty? Does anybody know? Tell me where that Marine's located. Marine active duty. He's got his little rank insignia, ring on that cover. Walking around Marine base. He's walking around all the time. Anybody know what his job is? No one? You must know, Sarah. Okay. Well, I'll give you a clue. He's an aviator. Right. Come up here. Stand back there. That was in the strike zone. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to etymology. Okay. Now let's see. Who's that gentleman that dropped the? What is your name again? Sergeant. Sergeant what? Sergeant Bush. Yeah, first name. Right. Right. Stand up. Might only give you a chance. You want to play for the Cubs? Tell me, how do you pronounce this first word up here?
Colonel, sir?
I don't see an R in that. Do you see an R?
No.
Okay. How do you pronounce this word?
Illinois?
Is it in Illinois? How about this one?
The island?
Is Island? Okay. How about this one? Coup de Grace. It's Coup de Grace. Coup de Grace. And let's see. How about this one?
Fort?
Oh, you got to get me back there. And how about look? Get back there for a minute. How about this one?
Way City?
Looks like Louis to me. Well, how do you pronounce this one?
Lejeune?
That's right, it's Lejeune. And it's always been Lejeune. It's always been Lejeune. And without him, you wouldn't have those snappy haircuts or those sharp uniforms you have. Because there'd be no Marine Corps. No Marine Corps. Now, let's go to the next. Did a good job on that.
Round 2.
You ready? Let's go to the time machine. One of the stories I wrote about 150 stories at least, and I was given, nobody wrote in or praised me or anything on these stories. I was probably a third-grade journalist, deserved them. But I wrote one in April of 2008, because Leatherneck Magazine, several historians, and all the old-timers wanted General Lejeune respected. And I went down to New Orleans, met the family, and they said my father, I was not by a career Marine, but he would have slugged me if I didn't say Lejeune correctly. The old timers were very serious about it. Colonel Christmas arrived at Camp Lejeune, and everybody said Lejeune. He came back as a second lieutenant, came back as a major, was gone. And
Camp Lejeune.
an anchorman from ABC News. An anchorman, you know, people, all you have a name, you like your name spoken correctly, right? Once you die, you should still have your name spoken correctly. Anyway, an anchorman from ABC in Raleigh, North Carolina, he called me. So did two generals that were based in Louisiana. Compliment his story. And I got dozens of letters and compliments on it. I was invited to speak at PMI, Naval Academy, Marine Barracks. They gave me a parade. Because of the General Lejeune story, everybody was trying to get it respected again. And this anchorman called, and he went to BMI, where General Lejeune retired. He went, after he retired there, he saved the school. So we're going to go to this section right here.
Marine go to Camp Lejeune, and we would say it just like that. And then later on the air, I used Lejeune like everybody else did. But 23 years ago, an old radio program director corrected me. He said the Marine base was named for a famous general who came out of the Cajun country of Louisiana, and that it was pronounced Lejeune. Well, I've used that ever since. But since I get so much flack about it, both inside and outside the station, I got real interested in the name and also in the man. So before I capitulate, I'd like to share with you my story about one of America's greatest military heroes. They took us on a Sky-Fi trip into the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia and the prestigious Virginia Military Institute that spawned the careers of Generals Stonewall Jackson and George Marshall. It's also where John Archer Lejeune came to serve as superintendent in 1929, after his years as commandant of the Marine Corps. An important building at DMI now bears his name. I talked with the deputy superintendent. General, what do you call this building back here? This is Lejeune Hall. You know, down in North Carolina, everybody says Lejeune. Why do you say Lejeune? We say Lejeune because that was the man's name. The general had 3 daughters. One of them lives near the campus of BMI. Has anyone ever told you that that you mispronounce your own name?
No, because I don't.
Even Peter Jennings says Lejeune.
You does?
The pictures of Miss Lejeune's scrapbook tell the story of her famous father. He was a graduate of the Naval Academy, but took a commission in the Marine Corps. It was in World War I and on the battlefields of France that he distinguished himself as a fighter and a leader of the 2nd Division. It is said that his men loved him. The French admired him too for his skill and courage because he could speak French fluently. Some writers would later call him the greatest leatherneck of them all. When it was over, he would lead his famous 2nd Division in a victory parade down New York's 5th Avenue. Miss Laura remembers.
Red Cross lady or somebody rushed out and threw a bunch of flowers and spread the heart. And my whole life on his fine legs.
Some years later, the Secretary of the Navy, Josephus Daniels, would name him the Marine Corps' 13th Commandant. His last active years were spent here at BMI, training other young men for military service. Shortly after his death, 1942, the largest Marine base in the world was named for him in Jacksonville, North Carolina. It's the home of his beloved 2nd Division. American hero, John Archer Lejeune.
Anyway, I went down to Louisiana. I wrote a story, published a draft. Man was so grateful to make me judge in Mardi Gras. People were coming up offering bribes, mostly women, to go for their float, so I did. And the story came out, largest number of hits in Marine Corps internet history. Then a gentleman came along and wrote a book about it. General Lejeune came out of the Cajun country right after the Civil War. And he went to the Naval Academy after a year at LSU. He was the top 5 of his class, so they were going to make him an engineer. If you're the top academics at the Naval Academy, you have to go into naval engineering. But he took umbrage with that. When you graduated those days, you did not get a commission. You got your degree and you had 2 years in the fleet as a midshipman. So during those 2 years, he had a quality that triumphs over everything. And you know what that was? One word quality, triumphs over everything. Starts with a D. Nobody? General Lejeune had determination. He wrote every congressman, senator, everybody in the chain of command. And finally, after years of writing, the senator took him in to see a secretary of the Navy and said, if the Marine Corps wants you, we'll let you go. And that not happened. It wouldn't be a Marine Corps day. What happens is, so anyway, in a long career, he went down and had infantry action in Panama Canal, Cuba, Mexico. Finally comes a one-star general back from Washington, D.C. They want to make the commandant. He actually turned it down because the war in France had started. He went to France and he set a record for managing, well, first he met General Pershing. He got off the boat as a one-star, promoted him to two-star, and gave him the division. He's the first Marine to handle a division in combat in the history of the Corps. And he helped end World War I. They came home heroes. He created a lot of traditions. Like, for instance, when they run out of food, he always, senior man in the Marine Corps, went to the rear of the chow line. But I think in that same chow line, there was a corporal by the name of Schaefer there, Wesley Schaefer, in that same chow line in World War. You were at the chow line with General Lejeune.
Sure I will.
And then, so anyway, he comes back, he's a big hero. The Chief of Staff of the Army decides to shut down the Marine Corps. He makes a pledge that to shut down the Marine Corps with all their publicity. And anybody, I don't believe this, anyone who thought they were good enough would apply to the Army. General Lejeune took umbrage with that, and he stalked the passageways of Congress. He started things we take for granted today. He started the evening parades. He started the birthday tradition, the 10 November tradition we celebrate tomorrow. He created the Marine Corps colors. He created the schools in Quantico. He created the genesis of amphibious warfare. He even sent Marines to spy on Japan. He was ahead of his times. Almost everything we have today, he created. And a gentleman named Ralph Bates wrote a book. There's 3 books about Lejeune. 2 of them are really complete. A new book, it's really lively. It's going to be in the library here. And several historians, Charlie Niemeyer, the head of the Marine Corps History Division, John Ripley, another history director of the Marine Corps, and Dick Camp, all will tell you that if General Lejeune had not stayed in the Corps, there'd be no Marine Corps today. You guys would probably be close in space in the Coast Guard Reserve. So anyway, what this author did, he created a press release that what would have happened in World War II. Every battle in World War II would have been Army action. I'd like to ask the chaplain to read this press release. So this ought to offend everyone in the room.
Unbelievable. Press release from the Associated Press, 1945. Soldiers of the 27th Infantry Division, commanded by General George W. Greiner, Jr., along with 2 other U.S. Army divisions, have landed on Iwo Jima Island in the Pacific. 1 company of soldiers from the 165th Infantry Regiment reached the top of the high extinct volcano, dominating the landscape, on D+3 to raise the American flag. This flag-raising scene was captured by AP photographer Joe Rosenthal. From his flagship, surrounded by admiring Marines of ship's detachment, General Greiner proudly displays the wired photograph depicting the flag-raising scene to anxious reporters. This photograph will become famous as a symbol of the Army spirit and can-do attitude, the General stated.
Thank you. You find it offensive? That means the Army would have raised that flag in Sirbachi. They would have had every battle in World War II. One of the many, many reasons you ought to respect General Lejeune. And you know, doing things the right way. Sometimes it takes a lot of courage and determination to do things the right way. For instance, General Lejeune had. For instance, if everybody around you is drinking heavily, you've got a better control. After hearing my introduction, I've been with a lot of very successful people in corporations, the military, the sports world. And you know, the one thing all these successful people did not have in common, one quality they did not have, none of them were heavy drinkers or binge drinkers. In the year 2014, we lost over 900 Marines to discharges from drugs and alcohol. Year 2015, over 1,000. This year, we've had over 120 Marines die from drinking, motorcycles, suicide. Only 1 of those Marines died in combat. You know, the vast majority of our Marines do the job right. But our job is to look after each other. I went to a professor of psychology from Notre Dame named Dr. Philip Bonard. Dr. Bonard said that 10% of the human race is alcohol dependent. He also mentioned that 4 drinks for a woman and 5 for a man makes them drunk. He mentioned you have to look out for each other because the damage excessive drinking, especially binge drinking, does is everything from brain damage to heart attacks to strokes to early death, life shortened as much as 10 years, divorce, losing your job. Think about it. All the years you spend in school, high school, college, getting yourself in the Marine Corps, all the time you spend at Paris Island or OCS, all that time is wasted for one really bad moment when you're not looking out for yourself and other people. You got to focus on it. I'm not a teetotaler, but I try to drink in a controlled fashion at all times. One of the Marines, when this was being discussed, asked Marine far superior to me, asked him, what's the problem with drinking? You were born in a tavern. This general, his name is General Neller, he said, you might have been born in a tavern, but you don't have to die in one. Up here, personal experience. This guy's been lifetime, he's a submariner, my roommate, lifetime friends. He was not an alcoholic by any means. Every now and then he binged, mostly because there wasn't liquor on the ships. When they get off the ship, they drink heavy. And he went off the cliff in a sports car in San Diego. Has anybody heard of this Marine, Anthony Gale? Does anybody know what we do on the Marine Corps birthday at the gravesite of every commandant? Anyone here know?
Place to read.
Who said that?
Sir, me.
Okay. No one else do that? Oh, what we do is there's only one Marine commandant that does not get a read. Does anybody know who that is? Well, his name's right up here. This Marine went to Tripoli, Mexico. He's a combat Marine, superb. He caught a Navy guy abusing one of his sentries at Marine barracks. He challenged him to duel the next morning. He killed him in a fair fight. He was put up for a court-martial. The commandant said he was taking care of his Marines, and they dismissed the charges. So he went out with his long career, finally came back as a senior Marine, became the 4th commandant of the Marine Corps. But he still drank heavily. He binged. He had some really, really bad habits. Most Marines out in the field are a lot better than they are in garrison duty. And in garrison duty, this man was a waste. And he was court-martialed and thrown out of the Marine Corps. And he went to Kentucky, and no one to this day knows where he's buried. So it's a very serious, I guess my message is strictly this. My God, please take care of each other. I've lost a friend. Somebody in this room might very well have that same problem. Please take care of each other. That's all it takes. Now, and that's about it. I'll see you tomorrow for the birthday. And thanks for, anybody got any questions? How about some 50 questions here? Anybody got some questions about Marine history that you want to help me out, educate me? Any new ones? Nobody with any questions? Okay. Okay. Anyway, that's about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
Right.